Welcome to my free agent prediction videos. This will discuss all the free agent moves that I think the Buffalo Bills should and will make this season. We will be covering free agency signings, re-signings, and cuts all today in this video. I have kept cap space in mind too. So, before you start the video, like and subscribe for more great content like this and enjoy the video. Now, go right ahead and watch it. Before we do the funnest part, in my opinion, the signing parts, let's do the re-signing. Now, the Bills re-signed basically all their important free agents last season, but I have the Bills keeping a good amount of important free agents, but also letting some go as they're expensive. So I think that we will re-sign Harrison Phillips. He kind of fits Buffalo. He was in the nominee for or in the discussion for a Man of the Year, kind of a Buffalo guy. I think that we can get him on a cheaper deal. Sironeo actually predicted this before he got signed to a 3-year contract. More of like a depth guy to Micah Hyde Poyer. When you need him to step up, he does, and he's a good special teamer too. Iko Bodiger, he's kind of like a backup starter rotation guy. I have him, that's like a depth guy. He can definitely step in and do some flashy plays blocking when you need him to. Taiwan Jones, just like a 1-year contract like he's done throughout his career with the Bills for the last 2 free agencies. Great special teams guy, won't see him anywhere else on the offense. Justin Zimmer, another guy who's a depth at D-tackle, and the guy who's cheap, so we can definitely bring him back. And Ife Ubada, who former Carolina Panther when Sean McDermott was the defensive coordinator. Now he's the head coach and has been for a while. So Ife Ubada had an underrated season, so I see the Bills picking him up. So this is total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 re-signings. Now let's move on to the next part. Next up, we have our free agent signings. My favorite part of the video. I don't think the Bills are going to do huge, but they are going to go big. Sean McDermott said if there's a position in need, he'll go big with trades or free agency. But he also said he's not going to go massive. So these are some guys that I think will sign with the Bills at reasonable contracts, and it will be a bigger free agency for us than last year. First up, Cordell Patterson. This fits perfectly. I have Isaiah McKenzie going to a different team, and Cordell Patterson is basically Isaiah McKenzie 2.0. He's a receiver, he's a punt returner, but the only difference is that Cordell Patterson running back as well. So basically, Cordell Patterson is a better version than Isaiah McKenzie. He had a combined total of over 1,000 yards rushing and passing. He's a big body guy. He can bring you some good stuff in the red zone, receiving, and running. So also a great punt returner because Marquez Stevenson kind of had an inconsistent year punt returning wise. So I feel like this is a great move. I can go on and on why he should say. He also liked a tweet about prediction about him joining the Bills. He also knows Stephon Diggs very well, who he sent chicken wings to. So I have Cordell Patterson going to us for like a 1 or 2 year contract. Christian Kirk, he went on a vacation and dinner with Josh Allen and their girlfriend. So Christian Kirk, he's expensive, but we will make room for him with cuts, and that's a guy I think that Josh Allen will attract here, and whatever Josh Allen needs, Brandon Beane will find a way to get it done. Josh Allen is probably going to Brandon Beane like, I went to dinner with him. We talked a little bit, but while we were there, we also talked about him joining us. So get Christian Kirk, and I'll be happy. If they get Christian Kirk, he'll be a good slot replacement for Cole Beasley, who, spoiler alert, I either have traded or cutting. You'll see later on. Oh, fine. Ryan Fitzpatrick, went on Washington, went to the Bills-Patriots playoff game where he took his shirt off in negative-degree weather and he screamed. He used to play for the Bills, so he has familiarity, but now with a better coaching staff and better team, probably get him on a cheaper contract with how old he is, and he'll be a great mentor to Josh Allen. He can be a good leader to him too. So I have him staying. I'm not staying, going back to Buffalo like he did at one point. Akeem Hicks, he's a good defensive end veteran. Bills love their veteran defensive ends. He had a 2.5 sacks, not a terrible season. I think we get him on a cheaper contract because of his age. And he's the main pass rusher, surrounded by young guys like Basham Jr. and Gregory Rousseau. Along with Ed Oliver, you can transition between that heavy pass rush set that the Bills like to rotate a lot. So I have us getting Akeem Hicks. Also, because Mario Addison and Jerry Hughes are free agents, so we'll have enough cap to get him. And he's a replacement who's better than Addison and Hughes. Austin Corbett. I have Austin Corbett because I believed he worked for our new quarterback coach and Ken Dorsey at one point in Carolina. So he would definitely be familiar with them and the offense. And, Brandon Beane prioritized first things first. We got to protect Josh Allen. That's what he said. And, Ryan Bates and Iko Bodiger are both free agents. And our guard position is weak. If we re-sign Ryan Bates, he did good in the playoffs, but I don't know if he's a long-term guy. So give me Austin Corbett as a lockdown guard for a year or two. Then we have Corey Bortez, our former punter. Not a massive deal because he's a punter. He's was one of the best punters in the league while on the Bills. And he'll be a familiar face. And what about Matt Hack? Well, you'll see later on in the video. He's familiar with the special teams, and it's just like a special teams move. What else can I say? He's a good punter. Ian Thomas, he plays for Carolina. He also has familiarity with, again, I think, our quarterback coach and Ken Dorsey. He hasn't had really the opportunity to shine in Carolina, but now he does as a backup tight end to Dawson Knox. So he's a good blocking tight end who can also get some receptions in if Knox is injured or they like to rotate their tight ends at plays. So those are my signings. Let's move on now. So all those guys are expensive, and we're over the cap by I think $4 million roughly. So we're gonna make some cuts. Cole Beasley is around $6 million. He's expensive. He declined from last year to this year. He's getting older. His contract's coming up next year. Just get rid of him. Move on. Replace him with some younger receivers like Christian Kirk and a guy in the draft, who I think will be the speedster. Okay, now Star Latui, he's injury prone. He's expensive around that $5 million range, and he barely plays because he's injury prone. And we already have enough depth at the D tackle position, according to my predictions too. Matt Hack, he had a bad season. He had 2 block punts, once against the Steelers, another time against the Jets, and I think, I'm not for sure, but I know the Steelers won. Anyways, but he's a bad punter. You see, he couldn't make one punt over 50 yards in the Jets game. He forgot the punt in the Jets game. And he's just a bad punter. He used to be a top punter. Now he's declined in his career for no reason. Release a $1 million. I know that's cheap football-wise, but just cut some extra cap and replace him with a guy like Corey Bortez, who's about the same cap cost as Matt Hack, but a better punter. Now, this one's a little bit of an extra one I decided to put there. Now, this is not necessarily related to Bills. Well, it is, but which teams will sign them? First up, you'll see a lot of Giants and Panthers. I'll explain soon. Okay, Isaiah McKenzie, Giants. I think the Giants really want a mobile receiver like Isaiah McKenzie. He's fast, speedy, great receiving back. You can use him on some run plays as a running back, on some jet sweeps. And Brian Daboll is now the head coach. And Joe Shane is now the general manager. They have announced that they're going to go after some free agents. And one guy that Brian Daboll had utilized a good amount last year and is very familiar with is Isaiah McKenzie. So I have him going to the Giants. Mitch Trubisky. Teams I don't see the Giants getting him. I know that was an option, but they have Daniel Jones, and Joe Shane said that they're going to build a team around him for whenever. So how long they think he will last for. So I have Mitch Trubisky going to the Carolina Panthers. Look, Carolina Panthers are big on free agent quarterbacks and training for mid-tier, bottom-tier quarterbacks. Look, Sam Darnold, Teddy Bridgewater, Cam Newton, PJ Walker from the XFL, who they signed as a quarterback. So I have them getting a solid mobile quarterback who they hope to be the future. I feel like he fits the Carolina Panthers well to give DJ Moore at least a decent quarterback now. Levi Wallace, he's definitely, his price is gonna go up, and I feel like Cincinnati Bengals, they're gonna not let Eli Apple return after a bad season coveraging and just like in the Super Bowl. So they're gonna get him as a cornerback, 1 or 2, and he probably wants to go to a Super Bowl contender after not getting re-signed by Super Bowl contender, the Bills. Vernon Butler, Carolina Panthers. I have him going back to Carolina. I feel like, they have some staff members who know Vernon Butler well. I have him going to Carolina, or back to Carolina. Ryan Bates, Giants. They want to give Giants O-line bad right now, and they want to give him some protection. Ryan Bates, if that's like a depth guy or a rotation guard or a starting guard, I think Brian Daboll would like to bring him into his offense. Emmanuel Sanders retires. I think it's most likely that he retires. These are remaining free agents, by the way, but I think he retires. He's old, and he said that he wants to retire, most likely, so he retires. Matt Breida, Kansas City Chiefs, they're going to lose one of their running backs in free agency. He'll probably be a popular name after doing well in the playoffs. Chiefs definitely need like a speedy depth guy, a guy kind of like Tyreek Hill if he was a running back. So I have Kansas City picking him up as a depth guy and make that extra push to Super Bowl again. Tyler Dodson, a linebacker, a depth guy that the Giants could also target. Joe Shane, very familiar with him. Then World Cup players will go Cole Beasley, Baltimore Ravens. They need a solid slot. They need a solid wide receiver one to go around with Marquise Brown. Because mainly Mark Andrews and Marquise Brown, when he's consistent, are their only targets. So Sammy Watkins is leaving. Bring in a guy like Cole Beasley. You can be that number 1 or 2 target for Lamar Jackson. Matt Hack, Vikings punter is a free agent. I don't think they're going to bring him back. I have Matt Hack going on a 1-year deal to the Vikings. Start Latui Lions. They need some defensive line help, and feel like this will be a good contract for them to pick up. They have a lot of cap space, and Star Latui is definitely affordable for them. Thank you guys for watching, and enjoy the video. Peace. There'll be more in the future.